but so the day, when would we be doing that, now that we've got a capital program?
Ideally soon.
Warren has a
Ideally.
question.
Ronnie, on the agenda here was connections with the MTA's commuter rail system, something near and dear to my heart. You and I went to the Greater Meadowlands Chamber of Commerce together, and that is the possibility of extending the number 7 train out to Secaucus.
Right.
And at least keeping the project alive if it has to be put on a back burner. Can you give us some heads up on that?
It seems to me, and I'll give you it seems to me, and this is a slightly different answer, Orin, than I would have given maybe a year ago. Everybody seems to be gelling around the Gateway program. The building of the new Amtrak tunnels into Penn Station. The new Gateway program, not the old ARC program. I don't think you do both. I don't think we have the political, the financial, the project resources to do both. And so I think there has been an emergent priority around creating additional tunnel capacity into town. And that's fairly, my thoughts on that have evolved over time, I would say that.
You could probably do away with the need for a new Port Authority bus terminal if you extended to 7 and had all of those commuter buses just go to the Union City, wherever the 7 terminal would be, and you could probably take a ton of traffic out of
That
there.
would be very bad for New Jersey commuters,
Yeah.
let's be honest. That would be very bad for New Jersey commuters.
The only thing I think about, Ronnie, is how that Hudson Yards project is going to develop, and actually how we're going to try to be able to bring people in from New Jersey to go there. And the reason I say is, yes, we have to really concentrate right now on the Gateway project because of the critical need in the Hudson River tunnels, but we can't let this project just stop and keep it going and at least move ahead somewhat on it, so that when the Gateway gets into high gear, this one can start to be on the front burner.
For those who are not commuter rail experts, the Hudson River tunnels, which are called the North River tunnels, are owned by Amtrak, that connect Penn Station, New York, with Secaucus and points west, were very seriously damaged during Sandy. They are 106 years old, and Amtrak has threatened to take them out of service for major repairs which are needed, and it could happen any time. And we've been bringing this to the attention of the MTA board, and as well as New Jersey Transit, that they need to do something.
I would also suggest that people are not talking enough about the East River tunnels.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
Because
That affects the Royale.
it does, it
Primarily.
does. And if there is an emergent need
Well,
for
primarily.
a certain level of work on the East River tunnels as well.
That's a good
But at
point.
least, you know, with 4 tunnels, you could
Yeah,
have
there's much more
something there, you lose
flexibility.
50% of the tunnels, you only can provide 25% of
Yeah,
the
but those
700
tunnels
trains
are-
a day that go through.
But the east river tunnels are happening years. You lose the
Right.
tunnel, you have a serious
Oh,
problem.
you
Without
don't want to lose
east-side
any of
access.
them.
Then we
Don't
need a
wanna
Brooklyn
lose
service
them.
again.
You need everyone you have and then
You
some.
can't run a rush hour without.
But you need everyone you have and then some.
But it needs to be part of the dialogue. When you talk about, and Orin, you led me to say I'm concerned about resources, right? When you talk about resources and you realize that you're gonna have a gateway program in the Hudson River, you're also going to have a fairly significant program in the East River as well.
You're going to need. You're not going to have necessarily. You need before you can.
The
Yeah.
need is there.
Right.
That's right.
How many tunnels are you talking about?
The 4 East River tunnels.
They're used by, most people have LIR, but they're also deadhead moves of Amtrak equipment, service trains from Amtrak from Boston.
And New Jersey Transit.
And New Jersey Transit.
Deadhead.
Deadhead.
Yep.
Joys in Long Island City. As well as Amtrak.
Yeah, they don't go to Sunnyside Yard. Sunnyside Yard. Okay, Mark?
Yeah, I know it's not a priority, but if I could ask about countdown clocks for
I can't hear you.
Countdown clocks.
the letters,
Right.
because when you come to Penn Station, you go to 7th Avenue, riders all get the
Right.
nice little signs out front before you get to the subway,
Right.
what's coming. When you go to the left to the, 8th Avenue, there's nothing for riders at all about what's happening over there. I know it's not a priority, but I just wanted to.
Well, it actually is a priority, so maybe that's good information to share. You know, initially it was integrated into the Ice and Lead project, which is going out quite a few years. What we've done, because everybody universally likes it, right? Nobody says, I don't like having that information. Everybody recognizes the value that
We
it has.
still say it's a waste of money, though.
Well, we figured out hopefully a cheaper way to do it, which is, there is a technology pilot underway right now to see if this technology works, which is in a way, I'm gonna liken it to a little bit of like a GPS tagging of a train, so that we will be able to show on the lettered lines the train arrival information by the end of next year perhaps, which would be tremendous. But that is awaiting the pilot actually proving itself out that this can work. But it delinks it from the larger ICB project.
And that would distinguish between more than a single type of train on one line, correct?
Correct. Correct.
Michael, that is, Judy, Michael, hasn't asked any questions.
Well, you're on signage, and I gotta tell you, there are a lot of blind people who use this system because it is user-friendly to blind people. All of the print signs that are out there are wonderful. Blind people cannot access any one of those print signs. You give us one sign at the bottom of the main stairwell that tells us what train is available at the bottom of that stairwell.
Right.
And, you know, it's just not acceptable.
What happened to the
Especially in a
computer?
day and time when there's a sign on every pole.
Right.
And you know, it's just,
Do you
it's,
know if there are other systems that you could point to that say like, that they do this much better? Go look at what they're
the
doing.
WMATA system has much more user-friendly, and more people.
And
There are more people
Yeah.
walking around.
There was one, okay, I'm sorry, but there was one tweet machine, whatever you wanna call it, in Penn Station, and it's gone.
Yeah, and that only described Long Island Railroad. That was
Right.
only the Long Island Railroad plaza that it gave us information for. The example being, and I'll just, the information poles now, with the blue light on top.
Right.
We can't find them.
Right.
Yeah, so we can get verbal information if we can find the pole, but we can't find the pole.
Okay, Trudy had her hand raised.
Two questions related to countdown clock. One thing, the on-the-go thing that I saw in Grand Central, it seems to have replaced the countdown clock in Grand Central. It's in the same place where there was a countdown clock on the platform as you went down the stairs, face you. And now they have put in this on the machine that I was
One
talking about.
doesn't replace the other.
Well, it looks like it did, so I was just wondering, there will be, the countdown clocks will still exist.
Yes.
Where, okay, so you may want to look, it may have been a temporary thing, just to hook it up and do whatever. The other thing is there any thought to having the countdown clocks where there is a bus stop near a subway station, and so there is bus time, or you can reach bus time, of somehow coordinating countdown clocks and bus time, so that a decision can be made whether you're going to take a bus, without having to go first down into the subway to try to find, and in some of the stations, it's before you go into the patrol area. In some, you actually have to go through the turnstiles to find a countdown clock.
There's an app, you could use an app that gives you information.
Well, I understand there's an app, but there are many people who don't use apps. There are a lot of people who go on subways, especially older people, who do not use apps, who use, I mean, you can get bus time on you don't need an Android, you can get it by just dialing in and doing like a text, it's like a text messaging. So that's good, but that still doesn't help you, even if you get that information. And now that at some of the subway stops, I'm just going by the east side, there are these wonderful things that have the actual time for any number of buses. You don't even have to go on the app or the bus time. But if there would be some way of coordinating that information, or in those wonderful things that now have time right visible for everybody, that there could be a semi-countdown clock or some information on the surface about what's going on below the surface. I don't know if it's technologically
I mean, I
possible.
think it's aspirational. I think that
That's a good way.
Oh, I love that word.
But, you know, it's good to have dreams. We have to, though, get what we're doing right first. You know, it's like crawl, walk, run. We're just crawling around this right now. We have to crawl, walk, run.
Well, Problem is that we're not
Okay,
all
Ronnie?
crawling.
Uh,
I think that's a very important acknowledgement, that it's very different between different areas. But coming from trains to buses, before your time,
Mhm.
the plugs in the ceiling of the damn bus to charge your phone from,
Right.
are we gonna have a concierge to plug my phone in for me?
Okay, I'd like to ask some questions here. Two of the busiest, from my observation, token booths, as we used to call them, on Grand Central and 34th and 7th, 1, 2, and 3. And the lines are always, especially at 1, 2, and 3. Can you at some time add a second
I
person?
missed the first part.
Grand Central, the 4, 5, and 6, and shuttle, and 7.
Yeah.
But the 1, 2, and 3, 30, it's always huge lines there.
Yeah,
Can we get, like, at some point, peak hours, or even in the middle of the day, I mean, you can monitor it, how busy it is, to send a second person there. You need also to have some additional MetroCard machines there. And I brought this issue up with the staff here, and they never got a proper answer. But in Grand Central Terminal, across from track 38 or 36 or something, where they are, the machines for selling Metro North tickets, there used to be MetroCard vending machines there, and they were taken out for some spurious reason, and they have not been put back. And they believe that there's something to do with blaming East Side Access. Those people get paid enough money, they could figure out a way of doing it, because it's a horror to go down and try and buy a Metro card from the downstairs at Grand Central, and we need to get those put back there, and any other place they can find to put them. We need to make the system easier, as you know it, for people
So
to
in
buy
the
them.
room that has the ticket vending machine,
Yes,
Metro
it's
North,
right outside the
there
station
used to
master's
be
office.
there used to be a
Yeah,
Metro
you
card
can see
vending
the
machine
bolts
there.
in the floor
and
where
it's
they used to
gone.
be, yeah, and the bolts are there.
So they need to put a new Metro North in?
Yes, outside the station master's office, there's a little room.
Yeah, there was some envy there.
And it was taken out, so they really need to get put back there.
yeah, but Ronnie, the access from the Long Island Railroad into the 1, 2, and 3 trains, like what Randy said, is really bad. They have to have an extra clerk.
I've never not seen lines there.
Just obnoxious.
I was just there the other day, it is really.
And at Grand Central, the entry to the 4-5,
People, please ask some
okay,
questions.
excuse me.
No, Ellen.
The window is in front of the card swipe.
You'll get the chance.
No, it won't.
I have a short question and then a longer one. One is just, I wondered if, in some of the heavily traveled stations where you're having a real conflict of as many people going out as going in, if, like in Paris, there are some one-way stations, you could go in one way and you go out another, if that ever gets thought about. So that's my short one. And the other, I was wondering your take on smart card and where that is.
So, I've actually never heard that suggestion in terms of congested stations, and, you know, we are entrance constrained in some places. So, you know, I was out on the I don't remember which station it was, and it was explained to me that because of the entrance congestion, they did a little helpful by something as rudimentary as barriers to create sort of that up and down flow, queuing.
They have some of the Grand
72nd
Central
Street's
shuttle
a
there.
real
too.
crisis.
Yeah.
For getting in and getting out in the morning
Right.
peak. And with the 2 doors, just wondering,
I mean, one of the things that we're actually working on is how to better train and use platform controllers, the individuals that you see monitoring access in and off of trains and up and down stairs, and how to better use our customer service agents who currently are residing in booths, and maybe that's not the ideal place for them in all places at all times of day.
A discussion that hasn't taken place before.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Andrew,
Andrew, you know what? When I started, people said to me, oh my goodness, you know, problems, and there's a litany of them. I said, gee,
That sounds
they're the same problems that existed in January of 1987 when I walked in the door, as well as the problems that existed when I walked out the door in 2010, and I'm back, and they're still on the list. TA services and all of the construction-related impacts is top of that list, by the
And
way.
in 1978.
And in 1978, there you go.
With the smart card.
Encouraging. But on your second question, in terms of smart card, new fare payment is, the RFP's out. And so proposals will be coming back in. I'm not personally involved in that selection committee and all that stuff. So I'm waiting for an executive level briefing. What I expect to see sooner rather than later is actually the rollout of the pilot on the railroads.
That's this
on
month.
mobile,
Yes.
That's
the
this
use of
month.
your mobile devices for ticketing.
Actually, to follow up on just what you just said,
Jersey Transit.
just to follow what you said, we had problems finding to be part of that pilot program
Really?
because you couldn't get your mail-in ride, your Metro card also on the side of the card, and people didn't want to go buy separately,
Right.
you know.
Even for the purposes of just the
They
pilot
didn't,
program?
well, because sometimes they get through the work
Right.
as
That's true.
so.
Ronnie, you knew there was a very successful way of doing it, NJ Transit,
Yep.
and it works very well, but the people here decided they didn't want to do it.
Yeah, no, it was, I came in as sort of asking those same questions for that reason.
Those mobile apps are not accessible. The company, the current vendor being used is not.
Right.
The program is not accessible.
That's good to know.
Chris?
Question to ask that was mentioned earlier, but there's a little more details. As you know, the W train, as Andrew mentioned, the leeways. But one question to ask is, I know the W's will come out, it goes out to Coney Island yards. Are we gonna have them, let them still go into service to, once they go to bed, to still, you know, let people wanna go to the W train as an extra train just to get them to Brooklyn faster? Because the ridership in Brooklyn on the D line has increased lately, and my concern is if we do get maybe additional trains, or maybe a little bit of money from the officials up there,
Mhm.
maybe we can get the D train to come into Brooklyn, the W train, sorry,
The
the W train to come
W.
into Brooklyn, and because that will be maybe helping a little bit, because the R train's ridership is also getting a little roughy, because sometimes I do take the R, sometimes from Lower Manhattan, from the new Fulton Center, I call it Fulton Center. And lately, I sometimes have to let one R go ahead. It had nothing to do with delays.
Mhm.
It was just crowded because now that mall, now that new connection mall to the path now is open.
Right.
Now you're getting a whole crowd. Once in the blue moon, you do see an N train pops in a little bit because I know it's helping, which is a good move. But my concern is people want to go to Brooklyn, and it's a concern of, you know, a very crowded R train and weekends as well sometimes.
My concern around, the short answer on the W is yes, you'll still be able to do that move when you're
Early morning rush too?
both directions. But I don't know if we're really publicizing it effectively. You know, is it in the schedule? I'm not sure that it is. So you raised the issue the
Mike
other
Truback
day.
seemed to say that the ones that are coming to and from the Coney Island yard would be inserted into the
Correct.
schedule.
Correct, I just want to confirm that, because that was the first I had heard of that.
Okay.
And you are noticing a difference in ridership since the
ma'am.
Day Street passageway opened?
Yes, ma'am. And even when it's just now the Fulton Center has opened now, a lot of people do go onto the R train because if the 4 and 5 is acting up. Guys, it's very hard for me to shout. I don't want to shout. I'm sorry, and I want her to hear me. Lately, the ridership from the Fulton Center has really increased. If, say, the AEC is out, people will take the R train, because some people have unlimited Metro cards, will take that to J Street and then catch the AEC there. Because sometimes the 4 and 5 is too crowded, the 2 and 3 is too crowded, or God forbid, the elevator's out. It's also an accessible issue too.
Okay, one final question. No final questions. Any final remarks from you?
No, look, I appreciate the opportunity to come. I value these exchanges, would appreciate the opportunity to come periodically when you're having a meeting. Because I do get a lot of good ideas. We do, have different voice than the voices that are normally in my head. So, thank you.
Thank you. That's why
All right, so is there anything else anybody wants to bring up before we close the meeting?
I'm with CIS, ignore that.
All right, our next meeting is September.
Sorry for making I'm so.
September the 8th is our next meeting. Have a great summer, everybody, and thank you all for coming. Motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All right.
Are they really?